Okay, beautiful people. So if we've got this far, we've got you registered with Fusion, so you can open up the Fusion software that is on the computer, and this should be your opening screen. Now, we could go through numerous lessons about what everything means, or we could just learn by doing. And one of the biggest things learn by doing is, if you ever get confused, there's a wonderful thing called Google. Tutorials for Fusion, there's a million of them on YouTube. There are drop-down hints. If you hover your mouse cursor over each of these functions here, they'll give you a little bit of a drop-down hint, and then you've got me, your teacher. So without further ado, let's get crack-a-malackin' on this Lego sharpener. I always start with the idea that the software is an amazing thing, but it's only as good as the operator. And when we're creating three-dimensional objects, before we can actually have that object, like here I've got a plastic glue bottle, just handy, or a teacup. Before we can create that object, we need to create a drawing. We need to draw a shape that then we can convert into 3 dimensions. So the very first button here, you will see it is called Create Sketch. So we are going to, now your mouse is your tool. It's like if you're in the workshop and you've got a hammer or a chisel or a screwdriver or a drill, the mouse is your tool. All right. Single left button. Now, actually, let's rewind back a step. Let's set your mouse up so that we are on the same page, because this software, you can have your mouse set to any different version of CAD software. I'm going to get you to set it to the same version that I am used to doing and using. So what I want you to do is, up here in the right hand corner, there is a little circle with a question mark. You will learn all sorts of different amazing words from me. That question mark says help. Let's single left click on help, and we are going to go to the third one down that says quick setup. We're going to single left click on quick setup. Let's just make sure that your settings are going to be right for this. First one, default units. We here in tech, we deal with millimeters, okay? Not centimeters, not meters, not feet, not inches, millimeters. So make sure that that is millimeters. If it's not, click that drop down box, click on millimeters. The next one is the navigation and view feature, which is what your mouse is going to do and the functions that your mouse is going to do when you're pressing different buttons. I want you to click on the CAD Experience button, and I want you to select the drop down, and I want you to make sure SolidWorks is the selected function, okay? So if you look at it, there's a whole heap of other ones here. No, please choose SolidWorks, okay? That's all you need to do. From there, if you so wanted to, you could start some other tutorials, but you don't need to, because we're going to make a Lego head, if I can get the words out. If at any stage you finish the Lego head and you wanted to come back and you wanted to do some tutorials, you can do that. Now, all I'm going to do is I just got to drag that video box out the way, and in the bottom it says close. Click that button. Boom, it's done. Okay, let's start. Up to the top left hand side, this whole panel across here is called the ribbon. All right. Above the ribbon, there are different types of creation mechanisms, tools, features. Okay, we want the solid one to be highlighted. Oh, here comes Harry. Well, as long as you've got solid highlighted, we are going to left click on Create Sketch, and oh, what is that that's popped up in the middle of the graphics area? This thing here, this big white area in the middle of your screen, is called the graphics area. Now you'll notice with the graphics area, you have a green dotted line coming from top down. You've got a red dotted line coming sort of from the right hand side towards the middle, and a blue dotted line coming from the left hand side towards the middle, and you've got these 3 orange kind of parallelograms. I'd like to call them cubes, but they're not straight on at the moment. In the top right hand corner, you will notice you've got like almost like a dice, and it has different views showing linked to that as well, you have a blue Z, which matches the blue dotted line. You have a red X, which matches the red dotted line. And you have a green Y, which matches the green dotted line. Mysteries. That's okay. We don't care. Well, we do. We're going to learn about that much later, not now. What I want you guys to do is on this little dice up the top here, I want you to go to your mouse over the very top. There you'll see it's turned blue, and I want you to single left click. Now what's happened is this is orientated or orbited your graphics area around, so we can't see the other boxes or parallelograms anymore. We can only see this one, which means if I was to go into the art studio and I had a piece of paper that I wanted to draw on, I'm going to draw on the top of the paper or top of the paper. I'm not going to draw on the front, and I'm not going to draw on the side. I'm drawing on the top, which is going to be pretty much impossible, but not for us in 3D. So what I want you to do in this little graphics area realm here, you'll notice that box is now sort of like a bluey grey. When you move your mouse over it, it turns orange. That's the computer saying, hey man, is this the surface you want to draw on, bro? And you're going to go left click on that. Yeah, it is, bro. Now what happens is you'll notice the ribbon has completely changed at the top. The ribbon is now converted itself from three-dimensional features that are available to us to drawing sketch shapes, lines, functions, constraints, which in other softwares can be called relationships. We've got all sorts of things we can do here. But this circle right here in the middle looks like a little bit of a target kind of thing. You know, it's a circle with like quarters coloured in. And you'll see the background sort of has numbers. If you scroll your mouse wheel, you'll notice if you scroll it away from you, things get smaller. If you scroll the mouse wheel towards you, things come closer. That's one trick. I'll show you the next trick in a minute. I want you guys to come up to the top here in the Create section, and I want you to find this center diameter circle. Alright, now what we're going to do is we need to left click on it to select it. You'll notice when we've selected it, it turns blue. On the right hand side we have a sketch palette that talks about the circle. There are other types of circles we can draw, but it's going to default to the center, which is what we want. Now when we move our cursor towards the middle, which is called the origin, okay, if we're talking again in the realm of three dimensionals, there's X, Y, and Z axis. Where those three axes join right in the middle is 0, the center of the CAD universe. Everything out from that has numbers. We're going to the origin right in the center. You'll notice my cursor has a bit of a crosshair on it and an arrow, and just below it is a circle. That tells me I'm in a circle tool. Come to the center, to the origin. Now, what I want you to do, single left click. Okay, single left click, and look, I've let go. I've done my single left click, let go. Now I'm going to move my mouse, and it doesn't matter if I move it out, away, down, up, towards, whichever way you move your mouse, you'll notice a circle is created. We want this circle to be a certain dimension. We're going to get to that point, but what I want you to do is kind of roughly, you can see, you know, depending on what you wanted, but without clicking anything on your mouse, you'll notice that there is a box there that says 51.512 millimeters. That's our dimension box. And what we can do is, while it's highlighted blue, it basically means it's active. We can type over it, we can do whatever we want. So while it's highlighted blue, what I want you to do is on your keyboard, type in 24, so 24, and then press enter. Simple. Now we have a 24 millimeter circle that's in diameter, and you'll notice diameter is, there's arrows pointing from the left side to the right side. Wherever I put that 24, and I'm moving the 24 like this by holding and pressing down my left mouse button. You don't need to, but I'm just giving you an example. Okay, we have a 24 millimeter circle. Now we need to make that circle three-dimensional. We need to turn that into a cylinder. There's a few different ways you can do this. So, just move that out of the way a little bit again. You can either do a little bit of the long way, or you can cut out the middleman altogether, and you can use keyboard shortcuts. Now, I don't know all the keyboard shortcuts. All I know are the ones that are really the most important to use. So, the long way is you can either, in the top right hand side here, you can see it says Finish Sketch. On the sketch palette on the right hand side here, you'll notice towards the bottom it says Finish Sketch. What happens when you do that? Then you've got to go in and choose the feature you want to work with. I'm telling you right now, we want to work with an extrude. Okay, an extrude is, if you can imagine, toothpaste in the morning when you go to brush your teeth. You grab the toothpaste, you take the lid off, you squeeze that toothpaste tube, it extrudes toothpaste out of the end. That's what extruding does. It's forming that solid feature. So, without further ado, grab this little finger, this pointy finger, and you're going to press E, the letter E, on your keyboard. Why isn't it working? Come on, letter E. That's because I didn't. Okay, as soon as you press letter E, what you'll notice is now your sketch ribbon at the top has changed back to what was the three-dimensional ribbon. And over on the right hand side, we now have an extrude palette. All right, it's no longer a sketch palette. I'm not going to talk this much once we get into this. I'm just trying to explain to you what it is. Extrude palette. Now there's a couple of other ones that we can choose, but at the moment I want you to just go on the default one, which is the very first one that's already highlighted. It says profiles. Now if your sketch was already active, it would have one selected in here. Alright, now say for example profiles, it's got nothing. It actually says select, and you'll notice my circle over here is just a black circle with a black dot, and it's almost completely white. So if you've got nothing here, that's kind of asking you. You'll see it says select the coplanar sketch. So if I come over here now, as I hover over it, it turns blue. If I single left click in that area, you'll now see it says profiles, and it says one profile has been selected. Congratulations! And we're going to go really easy here. We've got a dimension box here. We can fill in dimensions 3 different ways again. I can either type it in this little box here, and it's already blue, so I just have to type it. I don't have to do anything else. I can come over here to the extrude palette, and I can click in this distance box here, and I can type in my distance. Or, here's the next trick. Your scroll wheel on your mouse, okay? As I've mentioned earlier, if you scroll away from you, it will make things smaller. If I scroll towards me, it makes things bigger. The other trick is you can use it like a button. So if you actually press down on your button, you'll notice the cursor is now turned from an arrow into an orbit sign. And when I put my mouse down, I can now, as I move my mouse around, it's now changing that into different directions. And if I sort of put it to a point where my arrow, this blue arrow, is facing up, and I hover over it, you'll notice my cursor arrow turns into a hand. I can left click and hold my left mouse button down and drag that arrow up. Now it's going to go up in increments of 5. Sadly, we want that to be 6. So dragging it up's not going to do anything, but there it is, it's at 5. I'm just going to, and it's highlighted blue, I point to my screen all the time. I'm just going to type in 6, press enter on my keyboard, ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. That's the first part of our Lego Man. Now, if I was to open my Lego Man, I can actually show you what I mean by first part. There's my Lego Man that I've already created. I'm going to bring my timeline back, and there is the first part of my Lego Man. The next part we're going to create is a sketch. Now, my sketches are all faded because that's the way I roll. We're going to draw a bigger circle, and then we're going to extrude that up and make it a body. Okay, that's what we're doing next. So let's go back, run the track back. Here is my first part. we're going to draw again on the top. So I want you to come over here, because if we've orbited this, it's going to be all the way around and out the place. So I want you to sort of spin it enough that you can see your little dice box up here saying top. Left click on it. Now can you see how now you can't, I mean you can read top if you tilt your head, depending on which way, you know, it could be upside down. So just in the top right hand corner you'll see there's these little sort of adjusting arrows. So I want to read the word top, I'm going to click that arrow. Now if your word top was facing that way, I'd click that arrow. Right, if my word top was upside down, doesn't matter which arrow I click, but I click it twice. So simple. Now I'm going to scroll the wheel towards me so it's a little bit bigger, and I'm going to click on this top surface. So I've single left clicked on this top surface. If I don't, my piece is just grey. But if I click on that, I'm already getting ready, steady, go to tell the computer that is the surface I'm drawing on. And now I'm going to come back up here to create a sketch. Click. And I'm back in. All my drawing tools are back up here. My finish sketch buttons, everything is telling me I'm back in drawing mode. If you've got this far so far and you're not bored, well, you might be because I talk too much, but I'm doing the teachery thing. Let's grab the center diameter circle again. Let's go into the origin. So I've just single left click to select that. I'm coming into the origin here, and at that bang smack on in the middle, I'm going to single left click again, and I'm going to draw a bigger circle out this time. And this time I want this circle to be 38 millimeters in diameter. So with that 35.553 highlighted, I'm not doing anything but typing in 38 and pressing enter on my keyboard. Boom, boom, boom. There's my circle. I'm happy days. Now we need to extrude that again. So I'll show you. If you don't use the E on the keyboard, okay, you can if you want to. Pointy finger, press E on the keyboard. If you don't and you choose finish sketch or finish sketch, all right, I've just single left clicked on that. You'll notice all the drawing tools have disappeared, and now I have feature tools. And the very first one there is called extrude. Okay, and you'll see on the pop-up it says extrude, and in brackets it's got the letter E. That letter E is the keyboard shortcut. So let's single left click on extrude. Now you'll notice my big black circle there with the big black dot. It's kind of got a light bluey kind of color, but it's not been selected. If I look at my palette over here on the right, it says profiles, and it's asking me to select my profile. So let's come over here and let's just say, all right, that's the profile I want to select. Boom. But if I was to drag that up, you'll notice it's got a hollow in the middle. And that's not exactly what I want yet. I want this to be a complete, full, rock solid cylinder. So I not only need to click this outside surface, but I need to move my mouse to the middle, and you'll see that grey turns to blue. When it turns to blue, I left click. Now I've got a full solid cylinder that's going to extrude up. And I want to extrude that up to 26. Now you'll see it's going to do 1 millimeter at a time now. So I can go to 26 just like that. On the right hand side here again in the palette, it says operation. Now there's a few options here. Alright, let's not talk about too many until we have to, but we want to make sure that this operation says join. If it doesn't, click on the drop down and choose join, and then click OK. Now all that's doing is it's going to be joining the first little cylinder at the bottom and that new big cylinder together, so it's one complete thing. Okay, so we don't lose our work, we're going to save this. Now, I've discovered that at school we can't exactly save it directly to the Fusion Cloud. So we're going to, over here where it says the file, where it's got that little piece of paper with drop down, we're going to click that, and we're going to come down. Now, I'm saying it won't let you, but this is probably because I'm at home and I'm on my home Wi-Fi, so I don't have so many firewalls. So what I'm going to suggest is we get in the habit. We're going to go to export. Now we're going to file name. We're going to call this Lego body. We don't need to change the type. We're going to leave that as it is. Now here's the trick. Where it says location, you're going to click on these little dots on the right hand side, and it's completely up to you. Now I don't have the school network showing up on my computer because I'm at home, but what you should see on the left hand side if you scroll would be a folder, and I think it's a H drive, I think, but you should see a folder on this side that actually is has your name on it. And you're going to click on that, and you're going to, I'd get you to create a CAD folder, but at the moment you're only going to be using this folder for CAD stuff. So you're going to find your folder, going to click on it to make sure it's highlighted. Make sure your file name here says Lego body, and then click save. Okay, and that now, and then click export, and that will now export and save your Lego body for if the computer crashes or the lesson finishes and you're going to come back and do it again. Okay, now with that done, we can always, now it's done, we can always just do Control S to save, and we should save regularly. You will notice with my little Lego man, there is a nice little curved base right here for his chinny chin chin. That is what we call a fillet. Okay, so on my timeline down here, and we can discuss timelines at a later stage, we need to put a fillet on this bottom edge. So how do we do that? Up the top here is create. As you come along from create is the modify section. Hopefully the second button in is a fillet button, or F on your screen for fillet. We're going to select that. Well, our fillet palette opens up. There are hundreds of different types of fillets we can use. Again, we're going to keep this simple for now. You'll see it says edges, faces, or features, and it's asking you to select what do you want to fillet. Now, as I hover over this grey area where my mouse is right now is a face. We don't want to select that. Okay. What are our other options? Features. Well, this is an extrude, similar to a face. And the other object is an edge. So if I come over, you'll notice this edge here turns black when my mouse is right on it. Okay, so boom, I'm going to left click on that edge. And what I've got now is my little arrow that I can drag until I reach a fillet size of 6 millimeters. Obviously I can hold my left mouse button on it, and I can, when I get too big, it's not going to accept it. When I'm too small, obviously it's 0. So we're going to go to 6. If you can't use that drag arrow, on the right hand side here is a little dimension box. You can click in that and you can type in 6. Alright. That's all you need to know about for fillets right now. Let's click OK. There you go. There you go. I just need to make sure this was the right size, 32. Oh, it wasn't the right size. Oh, I made a boo-boo-oo-boo, and that is awesome because we all make boo-boo-oo-boos, and I'm going to show you how to fix that boo-boo-oo-boo. So my really rough instructions are off of a really old file. Here is my Lego man. You'll notice there's considerable difference in how tall this body is. I've made this one 26, when in fact it should be, what did I say, 32 millimeters. So how do we fix that? Now, along the bottom here is our little timeline. And you'll see there's the original sketch. And it just changes ever so slightly. There's the original extrude. There's the next sketch, which is the big circle. There's the extrude that made that body. We want to edit that. So with your right mouse button, you're going to right click on that little guy there, and the second one down says edit feature. So we're going to left click on edit feature, And where it says 36, what were we changing it to? I have the brain functions 32. Excellent. So right click, edit feature, changing 26 to 32. Now it's taller. Enter on my keyboard. Now that looks mucho better. If you got confused, rewind a little bit, rewatch it. Alrighty. Now, how do we, this is solid at the moment, how do we get our pencil shavings and our sharpener in there? We have to hollow it out. Now, when I think about hollowing something out, boom, that creates an outer shell. Alright, and an outer shell, think about a prawn or a hermit crab or a lobster or a blue swimmer crab or an egg. You've got an outer shell and then a hollow inside. So how do we do that? Well, let's have a look at these features up here, and in the modify section you'll see a very obvious little guy here. It's called shell. It does not have a shortcut, a keyboard shortcut, but what we want to do is we want to left click on shell. Here's the palette over here, and it says faces or bodies, and it's asking us to select a face or a body. I want to shell this top face here. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is left click that. Now the next thing it's asking me is, how thick do I want that shell? Do I want the shell to be, like, let's think an egg might be 0.3 of a millimeter thick, like how thick would a shell be? This particular shell, we want to make it 2.5 millimeters thick. Okay, so type in 2.5. The direction is inside, which is what we want right now. Don't want anything else. Let's click OKzy Bazy, and there's our hollowed out pencil sharpener. I think we're going to call that video it for now, because the next step is a little bit complicated. So let's pause this now. That should be a pretty good start. Actually, let's just go Control S to make sure that's saved. It will pop up, hopefully not too confusing. You might be able to it might pop up because I haven't actually, anyway, Control S should just update your save. I haven't technically updated mine because I'm just building it as I'm doing the video. Control S. Let's move on to the next part.